सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर चैनल। आज हम पढ़ेंगे ASP.NET Core MVC के बारे में फुल डिटेल, लाइक व्हाट इट इज, वेयर इज, व्हाट इज इट्स कंपोनेंट, फीचर्स, एडवांटेज, डिसएडवांटेजेस। इंटरव्यू रेडी वन पॉइंट आंसर, व्हाट इज ASP.NET Core MVC। अगर आपसे इंटरव्यू पूछे MVC के बारे में जितना आप जानते हो, लाइक 1 to 2 पैराग्राफ में आप बता दो, that way we can basically use that PDF. I'm going to tell you. Okay, now what is define introduction to ASP.NET Core MVC. ASP.NET Core MVC होता क्या? Okay, now it is a modern web development framework built by Microsoft, used to build dynamic web applications, enterprises applications and web APIs. It combines MVC architecture with ASP.NET Core platform. ये फिर से पढ़ते हैं. It is a modern web development framework by Microsoft used to build dynamic web applications, enterprises applications, and web APIs. It combines MVC architecture with the ASP.NET Core platform. Like they are saying, like ASP.NET Core is a combined in that part, MVC architecture. Okay, it is a cross-platform, open source, and it is used MVC design pattern. Okay, what it means, cross-platform means it can run on the Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and open source, lightweight and high performance. And MVC means model view controller. There are separate logic writing functionality in it. Okay, it is follows separation of concern principle, separate logics, UI and data, all of it. Why ASP.NET Core is used? Okay, now there are some properties like creating scalable web applications, separate business logic from UI, means writing your UI logic and business logic and data logic complete differently. That we used MVC structure. Improved maintainability and testing, build secure and high performance applications. There is some features, that why we used ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay, features of ASP.NET Core is also applicable in this ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay, there are some component of MVC structure like model, view, controller. Okay, model basically represent the data and business logic, communicate with the database and contain properties and validation in it. And view is for user interface for application displaying data using Razor syntax. And controller is used handle user requests, means communication between your model and the view, process application logic basically. Now there is an example of model, like you create a public class student and you define two properties like ID and name field. Okay, now there is an example of views, like it's simple, the HTML template we use, like heading tag, and we use @ to write the C# code, viewback.message. Okay, now what is a controller application? There is a class home controller inherited from controller. In MVC structure, we inherit controller base class in the home controller, in the manual building controllers. Okay, in which we define a method to return the view. In web API we return the JSON and XML data, but in the model, in the MVC structure, we return the views. Okay, what is MVC request flow? Means how the request flow is working, how the data is going to show on the UI. There is that, like user send request from browser, routing identify the correct controller, like user is going to send the request from the browser UI and the request is going to send to the controller part, and controller receive it and process the request, which method is going to call, like it check all the method that a request is processed, and model and controller communicate with the model, and model interact with the database is going to respond the request, and controller send the data to the view, and view is going to display the response to the user in form of Razor syntax to the UI. Okay, now basically it's a simple process. User send request goes to controller goes to method, particular method that is defined that request part, and method is going to tell the model to fetch the data from the database, and is going to return to the controller, and controller is going to send that data to the view, and view is going to show in form of UI. Okay, there are some features of ASP.NET Core MVC, like it is cross-platform, means it can support Windows, Linux and Mac OS, high performance, built-in dependencies, razor view engines, flexible routing, middleware architectures, built-in security features, easy unit testing, and cloud-ready application. There is same features as ASP.NET Core Web API, but in which we use data return in the JSON and XML format. In MVC, we use views to turn the UI, and in it also the routing is performed like basically two types: conventional based routing and attribute routing. Conventional based routing defined globally using predefined URL pattern. There is a pattern like this: controller and in action name, and after that ID. This is a globally defined routing in your program.cs file. After that, we use attribute routing in a particular action methods. Okay, we use attribute route attribute to define the route basically on the method. Now we also see the data passing ways like view data and temp data. There's three features to flow the data from your database to the view. Okay, to the model to the view by using controller, like view back, transfer data controller to view. Okay, view data, passing data using dictionary object. It's also pass data from controller to view but using this dictionary object. Okay, temp data, transfer temporary data between request. It also like we can say that passing data to show the successful or failure of the request. Like example, viewback dot name equal to viewback. Viewback require no casting, but view data is required casting because it is going to store data in form of objects. Okay. Now after that, there are some key concepts like dependency injections, reduced tight coupling between classes, built-in supports, ASP.NET Core MVC, improved maintainability, testing and scalability. There is a middleware, handle HTTP requests and responses, forming the request process pipelines. Example, authentication, authorization, and exception handling. And there is action result. That part is going to return the view. It basically return view result, JSON result, redirect result, content result. Okay, there are many different type of results. And there is also model validations, validate user input using data annotations. There we use attribute to write the data annotations. Session management, store user specific data temporarily across requests. Entity framework core, ORM framework for database operations using C# code, reduce SQL coding, support link queue queries, and simplify data interaction. Okay, like that, we use also like model validation example like this. This is a field, and we use data annotations like there is required attribute, we use it. That part is called model validation. Okay, if we write it required means in browser we must fill the name input. Okay, if you define it. And session example like this: http context.session.set string, that part is name. And authorization example like authorize, if you like write a authorize attribute on any controller, means after login that part is going to be visible to the user. There is a like in a short one liner answer, what is controller? Contain all controller classes and methods. Model contain data model classes. View contain UI pages. Root contain static files like CSS, JS, images. Services क्या होती हैं? Business logic classes like repository pattern. When we use repository pattern to create an abstract layer between your data logic and business logic. Middleware, custom middleware component create करने के लिए. Now advantage and disadvantage of ASP.NET Core MVC: high performance, cross-platform support, secure applications, better code organizations, easy maintenance, built-in dependency injections, lightweight architecture. And there is some disadvantages like learning curve for beginners. Means if a beginner want to learn it, first the beginner have to learn what is HTML, what is MS SQL, what is razor pages. That part is going to learn by the user. After that it help to learn the MVC. Complex architecture for a small project, more configuration than traditional apps. Okay, now we can basically compare ASP.NET MVC and ASP.NET Core MVC. ASP.NET MVC basically only for Windows only, means it is an older version. Okay, and ASP.NET Core MVC is a present version. We use basically ASP.NET Core MVC because .NET MVC is older version, MVC 5. Less performance, high performance, older framework, modern framework, system.web dependency, lightweight architectures like dependency injection, repository pattern. There is more of it, and limited cloud support. Cloud ready means ultimate cloud support in the ASP.NET Core MVC part. Okay, now there is a the end of the ASP.NET Core introduction. After that, you are ready to counter the next part of the MVC. You have to learn the advanced topics in the MVC, .NET Core MVC. I will tell you how to create a CRUD, how to create a project by using ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay, in my next videos. Thank you for watching. I am subscribe the I am software developer channel. If you have any doubt, comment it. I will solve it. Thank you.